Hey, it's Justin, the Canada Whips guy. I've had this idea for a while to film a practice session just to kind of see what it looks like when I stitch it all together. So yeah, you're along for the ride. Let's do it. First thing I always got to do is pack my bag. Today I'm rocking the Legend of Zelda backpack. Bringing a couple whips with me. These got quiet crackers on them or ribbons because I'm going to a public park. I don't want to annoy people. I got a tripod for the phone, of course, a little repair kit. So I've got a fid, some scissors, quiet crackers, extra crackers, and a lighter, and then the water bottle, classic, all the essentials. Now it happens to be the end of November in Canada, so just getting dressed up. One other thing about whip practice is you always gotta say goodbye to the dogs. Goodbye, buddy. Good girl. The way that I face when I'm here usually depends on what way the wind's blowing. Right now it's kind of inconsistent, so I'm gonna try and give you guys this like backdrop of the trees because it's nice. Usually I'll face that way, which is, you know what, I'll show you because you can't see what I see. I'll face this way sometimes towards the houses if I don't want to be like interacting with the public, because all along this is a trail. But sometimes I face the trees, A, because it's a nicer view for me, B, it opens up conversations if people want to know what I'm doing, and C, it's easiest to hear the cracks off of the echo over there. So that's kind of the move. So I've got two sets of whips with me, a 4-foot set of hybrids and a 4.5 set of hybrids. Kit really swears by practicing with heavier whips first and then going to lighter whips, and I've done that, and I do think that it's optimal, just because like you get this burst of energy after moving to a lighter set of whips and you can kind of go forever. But I kind of do the opposite, where I'll start with lighter whips, shorter whips, and then move to the longer ones. And just because the reason is I can like ramp up the volume that way. The thought process is if no one comes and says anything when I'm doing staggered volleys with these, they're not going to come and bother me if I'm doing staggered volleys with these. I'll normally start just by goofing around, flowing, hitting whatever feels good, and that's what I'm going to do with these. Part of freestyling, I think, is just like keeping it going no matter what. I had this game for a little bit where, whoa, if I dropped a whip, I would have to find a new way of picking it up each time. And that just kind of helped keep things interesting. Always got to remember to drink water too. I try and keep my water bottle in my field of view. Oh, that was intentional. And that way I never forget to drink water. Ooh, there's a little bit of wind up there. I gotta stay in frame too. Something else I'm working on is I found that the more whips that I've collected, the more I've realized that certain sets of whips are better for other tricks. And so I'll end up, I know I want to practice this, so I bring this, and I know I want to practice that, so I'll bring that. And I'm trying now to force myself to use whips that aren't good for those tricks and do the tricks anyway. And I just find that's helping me like build more skills and feel a little bit more confident when I'm switching and, just kind of like adapt to different situations. These 4-foot hybrids are kind of light, so I've never really liked them for the elbow toss. They get kind of like caught up. Whereas with my orange ones, it's a lot more, it flows together and the whip stays a lot more straight. Ooh. Yeah, that just feels a lot better. So anyway, I'm not gonna use those. I'm gonna use these. See, they're starting to stagger now. I'm losing the timing. I'll try and get back in. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Now, hot take. A lot of people think blue, sunny skies are best for whip cracking, but I think it's this kind of weather. No wind, just gray, overcast clouds. You can see the whips perfectly highlighted in the sky. And so, in the spirit of that, I'm gonna lower my camera angle a little bit and try and do some throw stuff. And maybe it'll look cool. The other thing about gray skies, it makes it easier to tell if you've been sloppy or not. Although the cracks not being there also helps. Oh no. I think it's important to practice with one whip, so you can make every miss with two kind of intentional, you know? This next angle is one I've seen Todd shoot in before, and I think is cool. A classic sky upwards type thing. Whoa, Todd can do tricks though. That's probably the difference. Yeah, okay, so I practiced, changed whips, talked about the sky thing. Normally my practice, like it depends what kind of day I'm feeling like having. Some days I come out here and I'm like, I'm just gonna try and put stuff together and make stuff. Other days, it's like I have a specific trick in mind I wanna work on. And some days I'm just out here because like I wanna get exercise and I know it's good for my mental health. And other days I'm out here because I know I should be and I gotta keep working on stuff, otherwise I feel guilty. So what my practice kind of looks like depends on that. But for the most part, warm up with short whips, goof around a little, and then the now part, which is we goof around some more, but with intention, and see if anything like sticks, and then that'll inform what I work on next. So while I was just noodling, I came across this idea of like throwing a little, like a simple release or whatever, a no beat, a lazy, into the Tasmanian crossover. So I'm gonna goof around with that for a little bit. Whoa, that's a problem. How do I do it normally? So I guess now the question is finding a way to make this look more interesting. I guess one way is I could film it from the side so you'd see that release more. Whoa, you'd also see me screw up more. I'm just getting like inches off this handle. Barely interesting. I want to get like a nice, like really separate my hand, but the timing, I don't know if I can do it. Yeah. How do you? I find that when I'm learning something completely new, doing it is the first challenge, and then doing it without looking terrified the whole time is the second challenge. The only way I can think is to bring them up at the same time. Yeah. You still separate them on the down, it's just this has to slow for that lazy, so you have to kind of, yeah. So now is the part of the practice where I focus on something that I've been working on lately. I've been feeling during my freestyling that I'm doing shoulder rolls like kind of intuitively, or that's where my body wants to go. So I'm going to work on this shoulder roll trick that I've been trying to do. Basically the idea is, instead of like doing the shoulder roll, grabbing it and continuing, it's using it as like a stall point. So we'll do the roll, it'll hang out there, then I'll do something with the other hand and then resume. I don't really know how to unwrap from that. Yeah, there it is. That's kind of funny. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. That was maybe something. Oh, I hate that I have to do this extra spin and then double tap to like keep going the same direction. I wonder if I can just spin, and hit it, you know? Yeah, that's a little easier. That's really fun. That's really fun. Sometimes when I'm working on tricks, I'll get like, I don't know, I'll make jokes about the ways that I'm failing while I'm doing it. And those jokes kind of become the name for the trick. So while I was doing this, I pictured that like meme of somebody throwing a brick into a dryer, and the dryer just like getting destroyed. And this pattern kind of makes me feel like that brick. So I want to call this spin cycle. And it's kind of nice because it is spinny. No, come on. Yeah, it's super spinny. What follows will undoubtedly be a video of me just trying the same move 100 times and failing each time. But if I get it once, you'll see it on Instagram, because that's what practice looks like. I'm gonna get it. I don't know if you guys find this, but sometimes I find when I'm working on a trick, I get a lot better and then I get a lot worse, and then I start to get better after that. Right now I'm in the worst period. What happens from here again? The second part of the arc, so you have an idea, you get good, you start to get bad, and then as you start to get better again skill-wise, your mental capacity goes down. So now I feel like I can do the moves, but my brain won't tell my body to do them, and it's extra frustrating because I know I can do them. All right, one thing I've realized is that when I film stuff, I tend to hyper fixate on one thing because I'll like want to get a clip of it, and then I'll just spend like the entire hour, 2 hours I'm out here just doing it. And I don't want to be like that right now, so I'm giving up on that spin cycle thing. The battle's over, but not the war. All right, it is now break time. So this is where I just sit here and kind of catch my breath and decide what I want to do next, or if I just want to like head home. One thing about longboarding here, like I get my blood pumping and I'm like excited and ready to be here, all warm and stuff. But then knowing that I still got a longboard 1 kilometer to get home, I'm like, man, that's all right. It's part of the vibe.
You don't chase the dream, you embody the dreamer. You don't search for love, you become love's resting place. And everything shifts, not because the world changed, but because your point of view did. You are no longer climbing the mountain, you are realizing you are the mountain. Instead of asking, what should I do to become who I want to be? You ask, what would that version of me choose right now? And then you choose it, even if it scares you. Because growth is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more deeply yourself.
All right, not to be a lazy guy, but I think the vibe is that practice time is ending, so I can go home and have a snack. I like to end my practice with some light cracking, so I started with the light whips. I'm gonna end with the light whips, and I'm just gonna vibe, which I guess is like all I do for my whole practice, but just do stuff that I think is fun and easy, and that way we always end the practice on a win, rather than like, you know, practicing something for a long time, not getting it, and then going home like a rage quit. So yeah, we're just gonna freestyle flow for a little bit more, and then hop on the longboard and go home. All right, we're going home. The last step, bundling up, finding my gloves, and then you always gotta do the whip walk where you walk around everywhere you practiced and look and see if you left any whips or anything on the ground. If you do a lot of tosses like me, you do a lot of walking because you travel a lot while you're chasing after the stuff you're throwing. Hi. Hi. Oh, let's go.